I'm going to tie these things together because I think days removed, it gets more interesting. And that is bad officiating and alcohol. There. Have a nice day, everyone. The water bottle throwing in prime time of the Texas-Georgia game won't die. And it has interesting layers to it now. Now, once you get away from the game and blah, 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 people get into X's and O's, you do get this a few bigger issues now have popped up, which I think is pretty cool, actually, and probably the timing is okay. And the fact that the game didn't decide, or the call in the Texas-Georgia game, the interference call, no call, wait a while, no call, that kind of thing, didn't decide the outcome. So I think it makes it easier to pick it apart, including the new part. Alcohol. Yeah, look out. So this issue won't die. Days after Georgia beats Texas, the debate gets a lot more interesting, I think. There's the question for all of you. It's just you do this whatever you want, react however you want. I'll just ask the questions. It's like the obligatory talk show thing to do, and that is, should there have been more punishment, or should there be punishment for the University of Texas for the water bottles that littered the field? Now, what's most amazing about the moment that the water bottles came raining down, and they're expensive, is this other element, and that is how quickly people ran out there to clean it up. You got cheerleaders, you got dudes in yellow vests, you name it, they're picking it up. It's kind of impressive. But should there be punishment for that happening? Crazy behavior inside your stadium. Should you be punished for it? If so, in what form? If so, by whom? There. Do something with that. React to that however you want. How severe? No severe. No punishment at all. Just do with it whatever you want. Okay, so I'll go first, by the way. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I'm willing to hear people argue that it is a bigger deal and could lead to a bigger deal. I'm sorry. I guess that's going to come across. I have no chance here because it's automatically going to come across. I went to school at Texas, worked at Texas for a long time, and I'm in the talk show business. So the second part of that is I like chaos. Chaos is good for my business. Nutty, stupid, ridiculous, over-the-top behavior is always good for my business. So accuse me of being biased when I say I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I'm open to suggestions and arguments otherwise. So a new variable has been introduced. Suspending alcohol sales. Yeah. That's the elephant in the room, by the way. Suspending alcohol sales. That, I can tell you right now, would be a heck of a fight. And the one entity you don't want to fight, trust me, the University of Texas, you will lose. But it's something maybe a lot of you have thought about. I haven't. And it's not a bad thing to bring up necessarily. And I don't think you can be so naive as to pretend that alcohol doesn't play a part in people inside stadiums acting like buffoons. It was an NFL issue a year ago, very much an NFL issue. And people are, historically in NFL games, have people gotten liquored up and punched each other in the face? Yes. We live in a world now where we get to see everything instantly. So every phone captures every dumb move. So here we are. It's the world we're in. Maybe, just maybe, inside these stadiums, if alcohol wasn't so available and it wasn't consumed at such rates, maybe the idiotic behavior would stop. So now what? Okay, so the players involved now that have made this an interesting debate. You've got a media narrative that started almost immediately. This one started pretty quickly, but it was fueled mostly, and I don't entirely blame him. It was fueled by Georgia head coach Kirby Smart, who said, I can't remember the exact quote, but it went something like this, and that is, and a lot of people agree with this, and it does look this way. He said this, the precedent has been set that if you don't like the call, throw stuff on the field in order to delay it to change the call. Something to that effect. In other words, if you just raise enough hell and do enough damage, look what you can do. I mean, it kind of worked out that way. It looked like it worked out that way. So, I think that makes the issue of crowd behavior, not just at Texas, anywhere, because you have to think of the next time. And that's what he's talking about, the next time. So, is he wrong? Is he? I don't fault him for bringing it up. I don't fault him necessarily for going there, because that's certainly the way it looked. And he comes across as far more objective because ultimately it didn't cost his team the game. They still won by double digits. It was an interference call that went against Texas on an interception. The officials talked and talked and talked some more. And when the play was shown on the Jumbotron that is the size of a skyscraper, the crowd went nuts. The crowd littered the field with water bottles, maybe more, but just water bottles from what I could tell. And then the flag was picked up. I'm not even sure they waved the flag to pick it up. They just said there's no interference call. And that was it. It hasn't been discussed. It's been discussed by everybody but the officials and officiating crew, unlike the NFL. Now, let me tell you again, this is where college football is finding itself in a problem. If you're going to be a made-for-TV sport and you're going to sell yourselves to networks and platforms for billions of dollars, you've got to do a better job addressing the audience. The NFL is masterful at caring about the people who watch on TV. You've got to tell them what's going on because that's your job. Referees, players, coaches, announcers, doesn't matter. The audience matters most. You've got to learn that, college football. I think it is a mistake for the league. It's a mistake for college football to not try to clarify. You're making a mistake. All right, so they don't operate that way. They just kind of make the calls and everyone moves along. So I think the first part of, in other words, hey, they make the call. It was not interference, but interference calls are objective calls. They're rarely overturned that I can think of, but whatever. I mean, if you thought it was a bad call, it's a bad call. The issue is the time it took. The longer it takes, next thing you know, the call or no call is on the Jumbotron to a group of fans that is dying for anything good to happen, that is dying for the home team to do anything positive to make it a game. And all of a sudden, it looked like the game changer had been totally screwed up and they flipped out. Were they liquored up? What do you think? You kidding me? Is there anybody in the north end of that stadium that's not liquored up? Is anyone in a college football game at night that's not boozed up? I think it'd be pretty naive to say that there was no alcohol there that had an impact. Can't say for certain that's everyone that threw a bottle was drunk, but it's a decent conclusion. So now what?